So I'm not sure how many people think of the story of Lazarus as a Thanksgiving story until today. So the story of Lazarus goes like this. Lazarus is the brother of Mary and Martha, and all three are dear friends of Jesus. Mary, Martha, and Lazarus live in Bethany. And as Jesus was on his travels with his disciples, he learned that Lazarus had become very ill, very gravely ill. So much so that his sisters sent a message to Jesus so he would know to come. Much to the curiosity of the disciples, Jesus stayed where he was. He didn't rush to Lazarus. In fact, he stayed 2 more days, he and the disciples. And then he gathered his disciples and made their way to Bethany. When Martha heard that Jesus was approaching, she ran to greet him, to tell him that Lazarus had died, and he had been in the tomb for 4 days. And as one might expect, she said, "Master, if you had only come, you could have saved Lazarus." But they carried on and went back to Bethany, and when they arrived in the town of Bethany, Mary joined Martha, and they took Jesus to the tomb. And Jesus wept for the loss of his dear friend. And he ordered the stone that covered the tomb to be rolled away. And Mary and Martha said, "Oh, well, Lazarus has been in the tomb for 4 days. There'll be quite an odor. There will be quite a smell." But Jesus didn't bother. He told them to roll away the stone, and in fact he did. And then he looked upward to the heavens and said, "Thank you, Father, for hearing me. I know that you always hear me. I speak these words for all the others." And then he commanded Lazarus to come out of the tomb, which he did. This lifting his eyes upward and giving gratitude before anything even happened is the advanced gratitude that we're going to talk about today. That is the story of Thanksgiving. When somebody does something kind for us, shares their lunch with us, or offers us a moment of kindness, what's the first thing we say in return? Thank you. I'm grateful. Now, to give thanks before anything even happens takes a little something extra, doesn't it? We have to be in a mindset of expectation that something will happen that is good and wonderful. When we face problems in life, when we look at them from the place that we're in, we can hardly see solutions. You know, we can't see the forest for the trees, so to speak. But when we lift our view higher above this human muck and mire that we contribute to, when we lift our vision higher to that spiritual realm, that's when we open to the possibilities of infinite solutions. How many times have you gone to bed with a bit of trouble on your mind, but then when you wake up, your deep subconscious mind has a solution? When you let it go from this human attachment and look from our spiritual self, look from our higher thinking, then we can invite and allow that realm of infinite possibilities to be known to us. You know, Albert Einstein says that you cannot solve a problem from the same consciousness, the same mindset that created it? Well, we create our problems here in the human realm, in our human thinking and our human ways of being. So we can't solve it from this. We have to lift to a higher thinking. So if I'm feeling fearful, if I have to look out, boy, if fear's underneath the problem that I have, if I look up, I can step into courage. I can step into faith and find a solution for that fear. If I feel resentful, if I feel judgmental, we talked about that in the book study today, what can I do? I look upward, lift my vision upward. What can I do? What would solve that problem of judgmentalness or resentment? We can move to compassion. We can move to forgiveness. We can move to acting in loving kindness. So look up. Look up. Look up right now and see the eaves of this church. There isn't a person that walks into this building that when they look up, they don't say, "Oh, wow." When we lift our vision, it's an automatic, "Oh, wow." Because we have a whole new way of looking at something and feeling something and then navigating accordingly. So think of a situation that you have that you might call a problem or a conundrum or something that you're stumped with. Do you have something that you're working on in life? Spend some time looking upward. You can do that literally, because looking at the sky and watching the clouds roll by kind of relaxes us and allows the flow of energy and creative thinking to allow us to have new visions. Or do it spiritually, to acknowledge this human realm, acknowledge what's happening here. But that isn't the absolute truth of our existence, because we are spiritual beings gifted the opportunity to be here in the human realm. It might not be comfortable to sit with those problems that we have and to acknowledge our participation in them, but we certainly get to see them from different places. When we offer advanced gratitude for the possible outcomes, we open even further. We open our imagination to allow our eyes to see differently. We open our imagination to hear inspiration that might come from very different places. We might hear a poem that someone reads. We might hear a quote that someone shares. And we allow that inspiration to guide us and direct us in new ways. And we can let go of our attachment of what is supposed to be, what should be in life. Now, we're coming up on Thanksgiving Day. And I know there's a lot of people at home preparing the meal that we're supposed to have on Thanksgiving Day. They're preparing the table the way I always thought it must be in order to be a proper Thanksgiving dinner. We have all these human expectations of what this day is supposed to be like. What if we just let go of all of that and allowed whatever is to be? And we gave gratitude now for whatever happens, whatever comes on Thursday, when we celebrate that day of giving thanks. Then we can be present, we can be in it, we can be enjoying all of it, we can be there. When I give advanced gratitude, I open myself to unlimited possibilities. I open myself to that space where nothing has limits, nothing. And we live in that realm of possibility. It's us that limits it in our own mind. When we open ourselves to the advanced gratitude, we allow the divine to move in, through, and as us. We have no constraints on what the divine can do for us and with us and through us. Now, is this always a linear journey? Is it always pretty and is it always easy? I haven't experienced that. Sometimes it's pretty darn challenging. Sometimes it's just all over the place. And sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it feels disorderly. But it is life. It's life how we experience it. And I believe that when we're on our journey, there's a presence and power that we talk about, that we affirm every Sunday, that's there in those times when it's easy and lovely, and there in those times when it's hard. And someone once asked me, so when I listen for that still small voice and I hear it, but I do what I think, I do it my way anyway. Anybody ever do that? You hear that discernment, that little nudge, but, well, I think I know better this time. Oh, sometimes it can turn out to be a real mess. And they said, so is that God punishing me for not listening? I don't believe that at all. I believe that there is cause and effect. I believe that I make a choice and I live it and things happen. If I listen to that still small voice, I'm probably going to have an easier path of it than when I do it my own way. That's what life has taught me. But honestly, there's many paths, many ways to the same destination. My guess is that everybody that came to here to Unity of Augusta this morning came by a different route, and some came virtually. And yet, here we all are. I can choose every Sunday which route to take. There's 2 routes that'll bring me here from Columbia. I can take US 1, or I can take I-20. One's going to get me here a whole lot faster. One's going to have a lot of stop signs and a lot of waiting. It's me that gets to choose, and then I get to make out of it what happens. But I can give advanced gratitude to that presence and power, that presence that's moving in all of creation, by whatever name we call it, universal love, great spirit, the divine, the presence, whatever that is greater than our human comprehension, yet as an intimate as our breath. That essence and energy that is the source of all the love and the cause of all life. It's there always. Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Can you see it? And when I go beyond the things that I'm grateful for, my family, my grandchildren, my home, this that I get to do every Sunday, the food that I have, my friends and my relationships, those creature comforts, then what is it that we're grateful for? Are we at a place that we can say, thank you for the unknown future? I don't have a clue how it's all going to work out, but thank you. Thank you for whatever is coming. Can we say that? And can we live that? Can we say that and then welcome whatever it is? Can we say that and then live through whatever it is, knowing and trusting that that presence is there in the midst of it? It's in the midst of the mess I make, and it's in the beauty when I follow. that still small voice. So when we acknowledge the good, no matter how small it is, no matter how deeply we have to dig to say, yes, I'm grateful for this, that gratitude moves us into a space of gratefulness. And in her book, Wake Up Grateful, which we're going to begin in a couple of weeks, Christy Nelson says that gratitude is great and gratefulness is better. To speak about the differences between gratitude and gratefulness might seem like quibbling over semantics, but there's an important distinction. The common understanding of the word gratitude simply doesn't convey the magnitude of gratefulness and all that it offers as a way of being in the world with gratefulness. Gratefulness does not serve itself only when things are happening or good things are happening or when we get what we want. It's more than simply saying thank you when things go well or counting our blessings at the end of the day. Gratefulness reveals a deeper truth, the truth of, I woke up this morning. There's gratefulness in that. I can still notice beauty after another hard day. That's gratefulness. That we can still see the beauty in the trees and the sky, and the flowers that bloom, the leaves that have fallen from the trees. That's gratefulness. This enables us to have the tenacity to attend and respond in more resilient ways to our challenges. It's a perspective shift. No matter what happens, I still know that every moment offers me something for which I can feel grateful, and I make myself available to exploring that. Gratefulness opens to the opportunity to experience gratitude in every moment. Gratefulness is gratitude for life. It reminds us that simply being alive, we are always receiving. With gratitude, as we know it, needs something good to happen. Gratefulness needs only for us to be awake. So we express gratitude for those things that we count as our gifts, our blessings, the joys in life, the things that go our way, but it's the expanded gratefulness that allows us to appreciate something in everything, even in that problem that we're solving, even in that difficult time in life. We can look deeply into that and find something to be grateful for. We might have to wait a minute to really, honestly, authentically see it and feel it, but it's there. How many of us have looked at life, the really hard moments in life, and still was able to find some lesson, some morsel, some gift, something that we could say we were grateful for? It's possible. I want to tell you about a couple of stories about advanced gratitude. It's when we don't know what's happening, and yet we put ourselves in a posture of feeling that gratefulness no matter what happens. I have a friend on Facebook who I've never met in person. He lives in New York, and his name is Danny Cohen, and he has lived many years, over 30 years, with epilepsy. And he was having massive seizures, and the doctors decided it was time to do a lobectomy, a surgery on his brain to help alleviate the seizures. So Danny went into the surgery with great expectations that he was going to be able to live a full, productive life without the interference of seizures. And he was feeling so grateful and so receptive to all that was about to happen for him. And when he woke from the surgery, he learned it didn't go quite as planned. It didn't take quite as good care of the seizures. So while he was still in ICU recovering, Danny went into a massive seizure. And when he recovered and came out of ICU, he still gave gratitude, still expressed gratitude for what was going to be life for him now. He was still here. He was still alive. He was still able to contribute. And as a result, he wrote a book, I Promise. He promised himself something every day for 31 days. And it's a lovely book. I encourage you to read it if you like. The other story is none other than our Unity co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore. And many have heard her story. Myrtle was very sickly as a child. By the way, her given name was Mary Page. So she was sickly as a child, and her family told her, well, you know, that's our family trait. Respiratory illness is what our family has, and so you're going to have it too. And she was very close to the end of her life. And she learned that through a workshop with E.B. Weeks, a healer, that she heard the words, I am a child of God, therefore I do not inherit illness. And from that inspiration, Myrtle sat with an empty chair and expressed words of gratitude for every part of her body, every organ of her body she gave thanks for, not knowing what would happen in the end. For nearly 2 years, Myrtle gave thanks for what was possible to be. For 2 years, she sat every day giving advance gratitude. And as it turns out, Myrtle was healed of her respiratory illness and lived a long, productive, beautiful life serving Unity, serving us, and being an inspiration and an example for all of us. So there isn't anything in the world, anything in the universe that does not respond to gratitude. Plants respond to gratitude. Talk kindly to a plant, show appreciation, and the plant thrives. We see our children respond to appreciation and gratitude. It's a wonderful positive reinforcement. My guess is that everybody here responds to gratitude and appreciation, right? There's nothing better. Everything in the entirety of the universe responds to gratefulness and gratitude. So what will you be willing to not just say thank you for when we receive? What are you willing to put out there, advance gratitude for? It might take some thought to really consider, but take the time to do that. What will you give advance gratitude for? And step and sit into the faith that good things will happen. Today I'm going to give advance gratitude for the beautiful journey that each of us, you and I, are on, and where that journey will take us in the coming months and years. That journey will probably ask some things of us. To speak, to be, and to act in ways that are that divine, that higher look. So look up. Look up for that inspiration of how to be in our world. So whatever is asked for you, you can give a yes to. And today, place advanced gratitude for what is about to be, for your life and for our world, as we are part of all of that. Today I'm going to give advanced gratitude for the depth of relationship that you are about to experience with the divine. Wherever we are today is a starting point to the depth that we can experience in communion and in union with our source. So I'm going to give advanced gratitude for the mystery, of what is about to be for all of us. When we live in our unity principles, when we study and work in spiritual law, when we gather in community to recognize our oneness, to recognize that we are one with all of creation, and to honor that. Today, I'm going to give advanced gratitude for the expanded awareness that we are about to step into. Not knowing what it means, but trusting that for each and every person, there is something good, there is something great, there is something wondrous for us to be and become. Will you join me in sharing advanced gratitude in these coming days? And when you sit down to your Thanksgiving dinner, share that gratitude in advance for what is about to be for each and every one of us. Namaste.